Good morning, ITA. From Busan, South Korea. My name is Candice, and I will be taking over the ITA Instagram story account today to show you a day in the life here as a Hagwon kindergarten English teacher. So I am 31 years old and originally from Houston, Texas, and this is my second year teaching in South Korea as well as living here. My first year I lived up north near a small city named Cheonan, and then I decided to move down to Busan to live closer to the beach. I typically begin my mornings by drinking coffee and getting ready for work. I'm going to put a question box here, so if you have any questions about teaching in South Korea or life here in Busan, definitely ask. So before I get ready for work, I'm going to show you my apartment really quickly, as well as share a screen that kind of breaks down my expenses for the month. So when you first walk into my studio apartment, we have the bathroom / wet room. Pretty standard. Storage units where I keep shoes and miscellaneous things, my recyclables. And then over here is my kitchen. So full fridge, sink, stove, washing machine in the kitchen. Again, pretty standard. And then over here is where I get ready and do work. My closet where I keep my clothes. And then onto my bed and my little chair. And my window that has a street view and good natural lighting for all of my plant babies. So yes, this is just a quick overview. All right, so here is a look of my neighborhood here in Busan. I live in the Haeundae district, and now I'm going to take the subway to head to work. So I work Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and I have to take public transportation to get to work. It's about a 10-minute subway ride and a 5-minute walk. I am a little bit early today to get coffee and to also show you a sneak peek of the classroom before the kids arrive. So if you've noticed, I still have on my mask. Masks are still required to be worn when you are taking any public transportation as well as in any restaurant or public space. When I am walking outside or at the beach, you don't have to wear a mask anymore. But still inside of spaces, you have to wear a mask. And while I'm teaching at school, I wear a mask all day. So the first thing I do is change out of my outdoor shoes into my indoor shoes. And then here's a sneak peek of my classroom. I teach 6-year-olds, first-year students. I have 20 kids. Here is my desk and workspace, my Korean co-teacher's desk, and then we also have an assistant teacher in the room as well, and then a computer desk. We work inside of our classroom, and we do have a faculty room, but that's mostly used for printing things and making copies. So all of the books and curriculum are provided by my school. I just have to prep and decide how I'm going to teach each lesson. And then anything that I need, there are resources saved on the computer. So that is very helpful and it's very organized, which I really appreciate. So every day I teach kindergarten from about 9 a.m. to 2:30. I'm not teaching the entire time. Me and my co-teacher switch off from classes. And then on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I teach a primary elementary class from 3 to 5. And then I go home. So today is Wednesday, so I will teach that elementary class after my kindergarten lessons. So it is almost 9 a.m. The kids are about to arrive, so I'm going to talk to y'all later. So it is after 5 o'clock and my work day is done. So typically after work I go home and cook dinner or go and pick up food. But since today is such a beautiful day, I am going to take y'all to Hyundai Beach, which is not far from my home, and show y'all the area and also answer some of the questions that have been coming in all day while I was working. So, see you soon. This is the Hyundai Strip. This is where you can find a lot of restaurants, cafes, bars, and during the summer it's very lively. They'll have performers here in the middle, sometimes a water show, and if you go straight that way, it leads straight to the beach. So we are going to go that way, but first, always, coffee. Welcome to Hyundai Beach. This is one of the main beaches here in Busan. So I recommend if you are thinking of moving to Korea or already here, definitely visit Hyundai. And tonight is a perfect evening to answer your questions. So I'm going to pick a spot and start answering some of the questions that came in. How did I find my position? So for my first year of teaching, I did utilize one of the recruiting programs through ITA that they referred. And then for my second year, I found this job on my own by LinkedIn post and an online job board. So I knew I wanted to move to Busan, I knew I wanted to live by the beach, and I knew I wanted to work less hours my second year. So that was what I pretty much looked for when I was doing my interviewing for my second year of teaching here. Did I have any fears in making the decision to move and teach abroad? So I would be lying if I said I wasn't a little scared, because anytime you just change careers or move to a new environment, it can be a bit nerve-wracking, a little scary. But a little about myself. Previous to moving to South Korea, I actually was an international flight attendant for 4 years. So I've already had experience being out of the country for a long period of time. And I had already traveled to South Korea prior to living here. So I was a bit familiar with the culture and how to get around and how to navigate in a space that's so different from the USA. So yes, I was a little nervous, but I had the confidence in myself, and with my prior work experience, I knew I would be okay. Is South Korea somewhere you wanted to teach in from the beginning? The answer is no. I did not see myself teaching here. I did not even have South Korea as the top 5 countries on my list. I wanted to be in Europe, specifically Italy or Spain. But when I was going through my online course through ITA, it was in the midst of the pandemic in 2020. So I had to reevaluate where I was going to be putting my resume out to, because a lot of the countries were closed to US citizens that weren't already residing in that country. So that's when I looked into more of South Korea, the benefits of teaching, and I decided that this was maybe a good move for me, even if it was just for a year. And now look, 2 years later. So yeah. Is it a big disadvantage if you don't know the language when you first arrive? I wouldn't say it's a big disadvantage, but it is very helpful. When you first get to Korea, you are going to be filling out a lot of paperwork. You will probably be setting up things like your bank account and getting familiar with your area. So speaking with taxi drivers. So it is helpful to know basic or a little bit of Korean. I did not know the language when I first arrived, but I also had someone who was a native speaker who helped me do a lot of things to get me set up when I first got to South Korea. So big disadvantage, no, but it is helpful to know even the basics. Is the apartment provided by the school? Yes, my apartment was provided by my school, so I do not pay rent. That is one of the benefits, but it was not furnished. I furnished my apartment. Myself, it only came with the basics, which was a mattress, a refrigerator, a washing machine, and a stove. Everything else I either had previous at my old apartment or I bought when I moved here. So yes, I took the school provided housing versus taking a stipend because I did not want to look for my own apartment nor put down a key deposit. During national holidays, how do you spend your free time? Typically, I would be here at the beach, being a beach bum. I also enjoy hiking, so I go hiking or just exploring other cities around Korea. Now that other countries are opening up, traveling is now another way I will probably start spending my free time in the future. And yeah, but mostly I spend it resting and laying out on the beach. Okay, as I walk home, I'm going to answer a few more questions. I apologize, it is a very windy evening, so I hope you can hear me. Is it normal to have a co-teacher in Hagwons? Yes, it is very normal to have a co-teacher. At my old school, my co-teacher was not in the room while I taught, but here at my new school, my co-teacher stays in the room for about 70 to 80% of the time while I am teaching. What's been your experience as a Black woman in Korean spaces? Overall, my experience living in South Korea as a Black woman has been positive. I do get stared at a lot, but to me, most of the time it's just out of curiosity because I look so different than majority of the population, and especially when I am wearing my afro out, people will stare at me on the train, but I do not get offended by stares, and I'm able to just go about living my life as I would have done back home. So as you can see, I have made it back home, and for the rest of the evening, I am just going to eat dinner and then relax until it's time for me to go to bed. But thank you for coming along. I hope you enjoyed my ITA takeover. I apologize if I did not get to your question. If you have more questions, you can find me at my personal Instagram at bittersweetcandy_, and I will do my best to reply to you over there. Also, I just want to say, if Korea is not your first choice or the country that maybe you were thinking was for you, give it a try, at least for 1 year. It has surprised me in the best ways possible, and I am very grateful for the life that I have created here for myself. On that note, it is time for me to log out. I had fun, and good night.